Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm kind of in a different filming spot. I'm trying to still figure out where I want to film, if I like being at the back of my shelf or being in the middle of both of my bigger shelves. So let me know down below what you prefer, because I would love to know. So I'm doing the book recommendations tag today. I cannot remember who created this tag, but I will link all the videos down below of other romance booktubers who have done this tag. This is such a fun tag, and I haven't done a tag in a really long time, so I wanted to do one. So I'm really excited for this tag. This is basically just asking 15 different questions and getting recommendations out of those. So let's get right into it. The first question is, a book you tell people is your fave. So of course I'm just like becoming giddy because I love this book so much. Inked in Lies by Gianna Darling. This book is literally one of my favorite books of all time. It is incredible. It is a part of the Fallen Men Motorcycle Club series, and this is Lila and Nova's story. It is a forbidden friends to lovers age gap romance, and it's really amazing. It is, I think, the 5th book in the series, but it is my favorite. Like, I tabbed this one and did some annotating, but Inked in Lies is definitely my favorite. I just love this series so much, and I just cannot stop recommending this series, so definitely go read the first book in the series if you haven't already. The next question is, a book that is your guilty pleasure. So I don't really have, I do have a specific book that I'm going to recommend, but my guilty pleasure is reading Beauty and the Beast monster romances, where it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but it has the Beast is like a monster, and I just love them. I don't feel guilty about them, but I just whenever I see one, I just drop everything to read it because I just love it. One that I read recently was The Beast by Janika Snow, and that one was really good. There's another one that I'll put up on the screen also. I just can't remember the title or the author, but that one was really good as well. But I just love those romances. I think they're really fun, and I just love monster romances, and I love Beauty and the Beast, like the story, and it just never gets old for me. I just love it so much. The next question is, a book everyone loved but you didn't. So for this one, I would have to choose Twisted Love by Anna Huang. So I started this book when it came out. I was so excited because the people who had gotten early arcs of this one were just absolutely loving it, and I think this is her, no, maybe this is not her debut novel, but anyways, I just didn't love this one. I thought it was very slow in the beginning, and I just remember not really liking it and it taking forever for their romance to finally start. So I just didn't love this one, but I actually love the series Twisted Lies. Like, that's my favorite. I think it is so good, but I just didn't love this one as much as other books in this series, and as other people loved this book, but I still need to read a couple more in this series. I did really love Twisted Lies. Next question is, a book you read the fastest. And for me, that has to be The Bully by Sophie Lark. So when I started this series a year ago, I think in February, and I binge read all 4 books in like a week. They're very easy to read. I mean, they seem really long, but the text was really big, and so it was super easy for me to get through them, and Sophie Lark's writing really works for me. And so I was just flying through a book a day because I was obsessed. And I wanted to choose Dean because I love Dean so much. He is my favorite hero in this series. This is a little bit of a Draco Malfoy redemption story. Like the story that he deserved, and this whole series revolves around this like university where all of these leaders of mafia, leaders in the mafia, their kids go to this university in Romania. It's very like Hogwarts-esque, to train to become leaders in the mafia. So Dean is going to be like the leader of the mafia, where he is in like Russia. And so in the book before, he saw Kat, the heroine, do something very suspicious and bad, and now he has something over her, and he decides to bully her and make her do whatever he wants because he has this information over her. And it is so freaking good. I absolutely ate this book up. I was obsessed with Dean from the first book, The Heir, because he was kind of in a love triangle in that first book, and I just love how obsessed he gets with the heroine, and he's like, touch her and you die, like, don't mess with her, I'm the only one who can mess with her. And there's very spicy times in this one, and I just love Dean's character and his character growth in this story. It was just incredible. Dean has my whole heart. I just love him so freaking much. He is definitely my favorite out of this series, and I just love this series so much, so definitely go check it out if you haven't already. The next question is a book that deserves more hype, and for me that has to be Indigo by Beverly Jenkins. This book is amazing, but it's so crazy to me when I looked on Goodreads. I feel like Beverly Jenkins is such a staple in the historical romance community, and she's one of the, like, I feel like founding fathers of historical romance. And when I look on some of her books, they just don't have a ton of ratings, and I'm like, what the heck? Because Beverly Jenkins is so known, I feel like, and she's just so incredible. So I love Indigo. This is definitely one of my favorites from her. So our heroine, she works for the Underground Railroad, and she is a part of like helping people who come across the Underground Railroad, and she has kind of like a safe house set up where she'll like have them for a couple nights until they move on more north to Canada or whatever. And so the hero Galen comes, and he actually is one of the most notorious known like conductors of the Underground Railroad, and he gets injured, and he is also like wanted. So she has to like harbor him. He's kind of a fugitive in her house, and it gets pretty crazy, and they end up having a romance. And what she doesn't know, he is actually very wealthy. He grew up in Louisiana, and so he has a lot of wealth. And so when he gets out of that situation better, he starts to woo her and court her, and it is just so good. I love this romance so much, and it is just very powerful. It has a lot of historical context. It is set in America, and I just freaking love this book so much, and more people need to read it, so definitely read it if you haven't. The next question is a book that is becoming a movie or a TV show, and I had to include Acotar. So Acotar is actually being turned into a TV show with Hulu, and I am like so freaking excited for this, but I'm also nervous because Acotar is like my baby, and I just love all of these characters, and I want it to be absolutely perfect. So I'm intrigued to see. I kind of wish that HBO was doing it, because HBO just does such an amazing job with their castings and the way they create TV shows and the storylines. Like they did such an incredible job with Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. But anyways, I am very excited for this TV show and to see what happens. Acotar is a fantasy new adult romance series including fairies and magical creatures, and it follows Farah, our heroine, and her journey and adventure in this world, and I'm just like so excited to see what's going to happen with this TV show. I think they're going to start filming it next year. I don't even know if they have castings yet, but I know Sarah J. Maas is being is like heavily on the project and doing things and making sure everything is perfect for her readers, and I'm just so excited for this and cannot wait. The next question is a book you've reread the most, and for me that has to be Lessons in Corruption by Gianna Darling. So I've read this book probably 3 times now. I just love it so much, and that's because I've just wanted to reread it. And last year Jess and Tori, I'll link their channels down below, but they did a read along because the newest book in the series was coming out, but then now it's delayed. But anyways, they did a read along for it, and so I reread it then, and this is just this is the first book in this series, and so this follows Cress and King, and it is a forbidden teacher reverse age gap romance, and it's really fun. And King is the son of the president of the motorcycle club, the Fallen MC, and I just love this book so much. I love this series so much, and this I just love reading this book specifically around fall time because it's very, I feel like has fall vibes for me. Like Cress loves to snuggle up and read a book by the fire, and she loves baking, especially apples, and it's just so nostalgic, and I love this book so much, so definitely read it if you haven't. Okay, the next question is a book from a genre you don't normally read, so I have to include The Night Swim by Megan Golden. I actually have a physical copy of it, but it's just like on the bottom stack of a huge stack of books on my shelves, and I just didn't want to grab it. I'm just too lazy to grab it right now, but this book is so fantastic. I really love it. It is a thriller, and our main character, she owns a podcast and a true crime podcast, and she does each season a new case where she breaks down the case and tries to solve it. And so her next case is actually about a rape victim case, and the case has before been about murders, and so this is kind of different, and she's going to the small town to be at like the court when all of the proceedings are going through, but she keeps getting these weird messages from someone on her car asking for help in finding their long lost sister. Her sister went missing 20 years ago, and so then we later find out that the person that's been leaving these messages actually lives in the small town where the case is taking place. And so as the book progresses, we learn more about the case that's going on with the podcast, but also the case with this woman and her long lost sister, and there are a lot of twists and turns in this one. It is just so fantastic. I remember reading it in like a day because I was obsessed and wanted to know what was going to happen and what happened to the sister and what happened with the case. It was just very enthralling, and I really, really loved it. The next question is a book that deserves all the hype, and for me that is Credence by Penelope Douglas. I love this book. I feel like the synopsis is very, very vague. You don't really know what's going to happen unless you have read it or somebody else has told you that read it, but this one is about our heroine who just lost both of her parents, and she has to go move in with her step uncle in the mountains on his ranch with his 2 sons, and they end up being locked up during the winter and doing some spicy things all together, and it's very good. I really love this book, and it's just such a great read, and I think it really does deserve the hype it gets because it is really fantastic, and I just love Penelope Douglas, so I really wanted to include this one on this list. The next question is a book that you usually recommend when asked for a rec. So for me, that is Kiss the Sky by Kristen Becca Ritchie, which is basically the Calloway Sisters series. I absolutely love the Calloway Sisters series more than the Addicted series. Like, now that I look back, I think I love Reich and Daisy and Rose and Connor more than Lo and Lily. But Kiss the Sky is the first book in the Calloway Sisters series, and it focuses on Rose and Connor, and they were rivals in school, and now they're in a relationship. But the family is very popular and famous, and they are now starting a reality TV show, and the producer on the TV show is actually coming on to be one of the characters and to pretend he is Rose's long lost ex-boyfriend, and so that creates some tension between Rose and Connor and the rest of the gang, and it is just such a great series. It is so funny. I love all of these characters so much. Rose and Connor are literally meant for each other. They are soulmates. They are both geniuses, and Rose is very like type A, but a boss woman, and I just love her so much, and Connor literally knows everything about Rose down to the T. He like memorizes her. He knows her so well, and I just love that about him. This series is amazing. If you haven't read it yet, I don't know what you're doing because it is incredible. Okay, so the next question is a book that has your favorite character, and for me that is When Heroes Fall. So I just love both of these characters, Dante and Elena, together. They are one of my favorite couples of all time. I just love them so much. Dante, I just freaking love him. Elena is just so scarred and prickly and honestly very sensitive, which you wouldn't think from the outside, but I just love her character so much. She goes through so much, but she just comes back even stronger, and Dante always pushes her but is there for her, knows when to be gentle with her but knows how to be hard with her, and I just I just love them so much. Joanna Darling knows how to write an amazing character, seriously. Like, I just think these characters are top tier. They're some of my favorites of all time. I just love them so freaking much. This is a duet. It is a hate to love mafia age gap romance. She is his lawyer and he is being framed for murdering another capo in New York, and he is one of the biggest mafia leaders in New York City, and she ends up having to stay with him in his apartment because he's on like house watch, and that's all I'm gonna say. It is very, very good. It's spicy. She is a scarred woman. She was engaged to somebody else, but he cheated on her, and so now she is dealing with a lot of issues where she just has a lot of trust issues, and she doesn't like the mafia. She grew up in Italy where the mafia was very prevalent, and she had really horrible experiences with them. And so that's all I'm going to say. It's fantastic. So good. Highly, highly recommend. So the next question is a book you wish you could live in. So for me, that is just going to have to be The Fallen Men World by Joanna Darling. I just love this world so much. I love the setting of British Columbia. It is gorgeous. I love the small town where the motorcycle club is. I love all of the characters, and I just love it so much. It is so picturesque for me, and I would just love to live there and find a biker man to be with and love and just be like, I'm just like giddy talking about it because I just want a fallen men biker dude to be my husband, honestly, because I would take any of those heroes like Zeus, Nova. I think I would, if I had to choose one of the heroes, I don't know. I feel like it would be Nova. Like, I just love Nova so much, but I also love Zeus or Danner. I don't know. It's just too much to choose from because I just love them so much. So the next question is a book you thought you would hate but loved, and for me that is Sinner by Sarah Simone. So I actually started this first reading it physically. I was not really vibing with it. I thought I wasn't gonna like it. I did like the first one. I gave it 4 stars, but then when I started the audio of this one, that was a game changer. The audios for the series is amazing. Amazing. Like, I just fell so much more in love with this book. This is my favorite of the series, and it's just so good. It is a age gap, best friend, younger sister romance, forbidden. She is training to become a nun, and she only has 30 days before she takes her vows, and so they only have 30 days to be together, and it is really, really good. I loved it. I loved the people that narrate this book. It was amazing. It also has a lot of emotionality to it because the hero is going through the loss of his mother dying, and so there were a lot of heavy topics surrounding that, but I love this book so much, and the audio was such a game changer for me, and it totally made me fall in love with this book and this series. It was just incredible. The next question is a book that made you cry, and for me that has to be Forget Me Not, because this book is just so emotional and gut-wrenching and angsty. So our hero and heroine are going through the throes of getting a divorce. The hero cheated on the heroine and she wants to get a divorce, but the hero ends up getting in a really bad car accident and not remembering the past 2 years of their life. All he remembers is them being happy and in love. And so when he wakes up, he is just like so flabbergasted of why he would ever cheat on his wife or want to be with somebody else. They're actually both in separate relationships at the time of the crash, and so they kind of find their love back. They find each other back again through love, and it is just such a beautiful story. I loved it. It's very angsty, emotional. I remember crying like 3 times in this book because I was just so frustrated with these characters, but just wanting them to be together and be happy together. Highly, highly recommend. It is absolutely incredible. The last book and the last question is a book you wish you could read again, and for me, that is Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. I remember reading this book and just like knowing deep down that this was going to be such an amazing book and just like such a powerful read for me. I just like fell in love with it. So our hero and heroine get kidnapped together, and the hero is actually engaged to the heroine's older sister, and they get kidnapped for 2 weeks, and they have to endure horrible things and do horrible things together, and so they kind of form this survival relationship afterwards, and nobody else understands what they went through, only they can, and they start to form a relationship and a romance, and it is just amazing. It is such a beautiful story, and it's incredible, and I really, really love this one. If I could read it again, oh my gosh, reading it the first time, it's just incredible. It was such an experience for me. I remember reading it in January of last year and just like falling in love and finishing it in like a day, because I just had to know if they were going to be together, what was going to happen. It was just so powerful and amazing. Absolutely love this book. Alright, well, that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed me doing this book tag. It was really fun, actually. I really love doing tags, but thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys soon.